for the delay. I'm going to, over the next 20, 30 minutes, I'm going to take you through the new rules of marketing. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, a little bit about the company, 1 minute, one slide on the application, but then I'm going to tell you why we exist and why we see these new rules of marketing coming into play. So a little bit about me. I'm actually from the States originally. I came over here to Ireland to do a master's in the fine educational system that we have over here. And 14 years later, 5 chickens, 4 kids, 3 horses, 2 dogs, 1 wife. I love them all, and I'm not going anywhere. So I'm here for a while. Marketo, some quick fast facts. We are a Silicon Valley-based company. We're a publicly traded company, a ticker symbol MKTO. We've been around for over 7 years now. We have headquarters here in Dublin. We have a data center. We're a cloud-based company, so we have a data center here in the UK that's going to service our EMEA-based customers. We're what we call a data aggregator, so we comply with all the EU data regulations and data laws. And that's it, yeah. So we have about 40-odd employees here in Dublin. Then we have we do a hub and spoke model where Dublin's the hub. We have languages, sales, marketing, support, finance, and then we put people in country as we grow. Similar model to a company you might be familiar with called Salesforce.com. Now, quick slide on Marketo as a platform, because I did this presentation a couple days ago in Amsterdam, and I went through my 5 rules, and at the end they said, I agree with those 5 rules, but what does Marketo do? So really quick, we are a multi-tenant platform. Every 6 weeks we have an upgrade to the platform. When you think of us as marketing automation, anything that a marketeer wants to do. We came from a B2B SaaS world, so when you think about lead scoring, lead nurturing, real-time personalization, A/B testing, anything on your website, anything to kind of nurture a lead through or to pull it through, all those base functionalities that you need, anything from a marketeer, from revenue, from analytics, okay? We do that for marketing and marketeers, okay? So if you have any questions on the product, please ask me later. Why are we in business today? We see the world has changed. We talked a lot about this today. You've heard a lot of information on data. One of the statistics that I read recently was 90% of the world's data has been created in the last 2 years. You heard about the buying cycle. I think that HubSpot mentioned the buying cycle earlier. The Forrester report that I read, 65% to 90% of the buying cycle is done before the person engages with sales, depending on the product or service. Okay, when you think about it, and again, 14 years ago before I moved here, I was technical pre-sales. So what I did was I worked for a semiconductor company, and as somebody was out there designing a new widget, hopefully an iPhone or something, they would have to come to me and ask me for my technical specifications. That's when I would start controlling the buying cycle. I was on the sales side of it, so the sales guy would love it because they'd have to ask me the questions, but before I gave them anything, they had to give me something, How many are you designing? How big's the project? How long is it going to take for you to design? Is it in beta? When's it going to be in beta? Okay? So we, the salespeople at that time, controlled the buying cycle. Now, marketeers control the buying cycle. All right? And I think you've heard about that, and I think that everyone kind of gets that concept. So what's the first new rule? The first new rule is we've gone from going and finding customers to actually being found. All right? I think we agree, and we talked about content. What do? Everyone puts content out there. We have to be found. We have to be known, get our brand out there. What are we doing in the marketplace? But it's not just about getting content out there. What is your content strategy? What are you trying to do with each of those pieces of content? I was speaking to somebody the other day in the marketing department, and he said 90% of the time, he's actually, what did he say? He's actually using below his neck operations as opposed to above the neck operations. So again, 90% of the time he's doing things, but what's he doing it for? You have to take a stop, a break, a breath, and say, all right, what is my content strategy? How am I actually rolling out this content? What am I doing with it specifically? So for us, we learn every day. We're just like you out there. We're marketeers. We had, if you can see that 136,000 right there, we had an ebook. We put it out there, pretty happy, a lot of good, relevant content. 10,000 views. You should be happy with 10,000 views. We were happy with 10,000 views. We changed the format, the exact same content, and we put it into SlideShare. Promoted it again. 136,000 views. That's what the customers wanted. They didn't want that ebook. In that particular ebook. We have other ebooks that are a lot more popular. And by the way, sorry, the first slide I should have told you, speaking of, if you're bored, or if you get bored during my presentation, I did put a little success kit together for you. Go to www.marketo.com/ in capital letters, DDM Alliance. So it should be pretty easy to figure out. I know that sometimes people would rather see the real content than listen to me. So we switched that around, as a company. We learned, and we got 136,000 views. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to apply more science to your content. Think about your strategy. Think about what you're trying to do. Attract new customers, get more out of the customers you have today, and then specifically, what are you doing with that content? What is your content strategy? We have a very powerful engine that actually looks at each of those pieces of content, and we start rating the content. I don't know, yeah, there's a big, we look at the unsubscribe, the way we look at the unsubscribe rate, that number, that's 65, is the engagement score out of 100. So how many people, out of the emails that we send, out of the websites that we have, out of the blogs that we have, how many people are engaging with it, and how many people are interacting with it? And then we score that piece of content. Now think, if you want to do that now, you want to go to open rates, click rates, you're wading through Excel spreadsheets, you're wading through data. We do this through algorithms, okay? But again, it's not, sorry, about the product. You have to think what you're doing with your content, how's it being purposed, and how's it being repurposed. Earlier we were talking about real-time, well, we haven't talked about real-time personalization yet, but they were talking about known and unknown visitors on your website. You have a lot of good content out there, all right? So I'll give you an example. Marketo, we have a German website, okay? We have anonymous visitors coming to that German website. Luckily, we have a tool that we use that we identify a couple of little things about them. What are they doing on the website? Where do they come from? Are they coming from a known IP address for a large corporation? Did they come from Siemens in Germany? So now, if you're an engineer from Siemens in Germany, and the first time you go onto a Marketo website, we want to make sure that we give you a German language success story in the manufacturing sector. Okay? So you're taking that content that you have today, you're not making him dig and look for it, you're actually putting that up. And again, you're putting that up because a couple things. You want to know who that unknown person is, and you want to start pulling him through your marketing sales cycle. You want to get him the most relevant piece of content as soon as you can in the marketing funnel. Okay? Does that make sense? Rule number 2, and again, a lot of people talked about this. We talk about point and blast. Nobody likes to be spammed anymore. I still get them. Everyone still gets them, and nobody likes them. They last 30 seconds. They just clog up your hard drive anyway. Durable one-to-one relationships. Okay? This is what we don't want. We don't want to go onto a website and then all of a sudden get a phone call. Are you ready to buy? Are you ready to buy? I know you looked at my product. Are you ready to buy? People are sick of that. People need that 65 to 90% of the sales cycle to be done, okay? I bought a car recently, actually. You do a lot of surfing. I don't want to be called by the sales guy, all right? So the same type of thing. I do want to know that the brand that I choose actually wants me and knows me. And we'll talk a little bit about Toyota later, another customer that we have that we're really proud to have. But we can talk about him in a little while. That's my American slide. The Americans always love these type of things. So that came from the States. So yes, you want to have that one-to-one communication, that one-to-one relationship. I'm going to talk about, I thought it was appropriate to speak about Harvard because we're obviously in DCU in the education business. So again, Harvard was one of our customers that we're really happy with, and they use our tool extensively. Now, you got to think of the sales cycle, and not only the sales cycle, but the customer cycle for a university. All right. Now, Harvard is quite particular. They want to make sure that they get the top students across the U.S., but they're not the only good university in the U.S. They have a lot of competition. So they want to make sure that on the early side of their sales cycle, when people are 14, 15, 16, and they're actually saying, what college or university would have the best business program for me, have the best environmental program for me, that Harvard messages to them correctly. So once they've got them into their university, that's when they're a customer for those 4 years or possibly 6 or 7 years. They're a customer of Harvard's, and that's the actual customer engagement cycle when they're kind of surveying them and saying, how is your experience here? What else can we do? And so they're pulling them through that. But at the end, it's really important that they keep that one-to-one relationship for the lifetime. And everyone's going to think alumni dollars, alumni dollars. You're absolutely correct, alumni dollars, but it's actually alumni time as well. It's really important for any university to actually pull the alumni back, not only for their money, all right, but for their connections and for their mentoring, okay? So that's kind of a life cycle of how Harvard would use, or how Harvard would try to create that one-to-one durable long-term relationship. This is a pretty heavy mic, by the way. Now, how do you actually do that at scale? And again, that's what you're going to have to think about. That's what we think about it as a company. Having different tracks, all right? Having content that you know is good and effective, all right? Making sure that that content, again, isn't bothersome, so you control the automation behind that content, when and how the customer sees it. Make sure he never gets the same piece of content. So again, we're going to talk about multiple channels the other day. If he's already seen a piece of content, you want to make sure that he skips that one. Okay, so if he's already seen creating content that sells, you want to make sure that he skips that one, or he or she skips that one, and they go to the next slide. They go to the next piece of content if you're sending them a content cadence. Okay, and again, if they've moved from prospect early stage and they're actually now a customer now, you want to make sure that they move in seamlessly into the next stream. So again, you're nurturing them through that whole cycle. That's part of the one-to-one relationship for scale, in scale. Now, we talked a lot about demographics, and demographics earlier today. Demographics, it's still being used, and it's still good, But again, I am a 40-year-old male living in Ireland, and I don't like soccer. So if you're going to send me any advertisements around soccer, it's just not going to be receptive. It's actually going to be aggravating. So what do you actually want to do? You actually want to look at my behavioral, okay? Sorry, I went forward too quick. You want to look at actually what I'm doing online. Look at my digital body language and how I'm doing it, okay? We know point and blast, all right? Again, this is an internal Marketo research slide. Anytime that we do a large email drop to people, we have a lower engagement rate, okay? We measure, and again, we're going to talk about measurement later, but we measure everything. How are the customers interacting with us? How are the prospects interacting with us? How are the customers interacting with us? All right, and so we're measuring that. We know if we send out an email blast, and it's a 100,000 person email blast, they don't respond very well. We lose them. We kind of lose them. If it's pointed specifically at them, maybe smaller ones, or maybe group ones that are set at a cadence, they react a lot more. Okay, so I hope you can understand that slide. The higher the engagement score, the lower the amount of emails in there, okay? The smaller the blast of emails. So what you want to make sure is, for this one-to-one communication, that the information is relevant to them. And I think we've all seen a slide like this before. We talked about it today, so I'm not going to labor it on too much anyway. What you want to do, behind the scenes, you want to make sure that you're creating relevant content, okay? But also, what we do is we have an analytical engine that takes a look at the content, and we do a content recommendation engine, not only for the unknown people, but actually for the people who've been on your site a couple of times, and where are they looking right now? So again, if you're pulling information from your ERP system or your CRM system, what's that customer doing today, and how do I actually get him the most relevant piece of information? All right, it's tough, it's hard, it's still an art. We're trying to make it more into a science. We're trying to put algorithms behind there. But we're doing it. We're doing it for our customers today, and hopefully someday we'll be able to do it for you. So once you actually have a couple of, you're looking at the digital body language, when do you actually engage with them, and how do you actually make sure that that person bringing them up, is anyone from sales here? Anyone in the sales team? John O'Keefe? Anyone? No? On the sales side, you don't want them to ring them up and say, hey, ready to buy, you ready to buy, you ready to buy. You want to say, oh, I see that over the last month you've looked at our analytics product, Marketo's analytics product. Do you know that right now we're actually having a special in analytics? We can come set you up for a 3-month trial for analytics at no cost. All right? Would you like a special demo on that? Okay? So you want to make sure that the salesperson can see and has the right marketing information and just isn't calling up saying, are you ready to buy? Are you ready to buy? Does that resonate? Does that make sense? Yeah? Sorry, we can do that with multiple systems anyway. So the fourth, isolated, they were talking earlier today about data segregation, okay? You want to take these channels, and there's two ways to look at channels, you know. How are they communicating with you today? Understand how they're communicating with you today. So are they actually phoning you? I mean, if you're recording in your CRM system or in your marketing system, how many times they're phoning you, or if they're interacting with you on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or through your website, or even through your support team, you know, are they just logging tickets? You want to make sure that you have a snapshot, because that's the way that they want to be communicated with. So now when you're starting to do your marketing promotions, you're actually going to put it out the same way back to them. All right? You want to measure across these multiple channels and communicate with them. You want to make sure that you can see all the interactions on all of the channels. All right? We're going to talk about social promotion here, and we see social as another channel. Okay? Just like the telephone, just like your website, your blog, these are all channels to communicate with your customer. Your customers are going to choose how they want to interact with you. All right? If they come in from a different channel, you're going to want to make sure that you know the other channel and you don't actually send them the same piece of information again, or you don't repeat yourself again, like I probably did 3 times already. All right. The marketeers for a long time, you know, I think we'd all agree, good intuition. What we've been doing and how we've been doing it, you know, is, you know, on the, you know, normally it's from your experience. You know, this has worked before. I think this is going to happen. I think it's going to work. Okay. What we're trying to say though is, you know, back up those gut instincts that you have, all right, with good analytics. Everything that we do as a company, and again, I'm here just to talk about marketing and what we do in marketing, everything that we do as a company goes in and gets crunched, okay? What did it cost for TFM&A? How many top of the funnel leads did we get out of that? How much revenue did we get for a return on that? Not just how many leads, but actually how far is it in the system? You know, how quickly did they go through the marketing funnel, into the sales funnel, into revenue? Was it a good return on investment? We're never going to espouse, you know what, cut off social because we're not getting a good return on investment, because we know that customers still want to go through that channel to interact with you. So you're always going to have to use these multiple channels, but you're going to have to measure them, because what we want to talk about is actually, not yet, what we want to talk about is actually when you start investing your dollars, you want to be able to tune those dollars. And again, you know, we think of ourselves as a big company. We still have marketing budgets. Everyone has a marketing budget. You can only spend so much per year. And the sales guys need to close so much business per year. So for marketing, so I'll give you an example. We had a growing software company using our tools, all right? And everyone knows in the summertime, for the month of July, the Swedes, the Nords, the Nordics take the summer off. So it's basically not much business gets closed there. But what they did is they actually tweaked their marketing budget to pull all marketing dollars, all right, from May and June and put them into the UK as opposed to letting them be spent up in the Nordics. Because they knew that no matter how much money, how many marketing dollars they spent there, there's not going to be any business closed. They reallocate marketing spend earlier in the year because they have an 8-week sales cycle. All right, am I making sense? So they actually, they tweak and reallocate money according to marketing spend. And again, we look at our own spend, all right? We can look at our own spend per region. We know a lot of the times as a growing company, we want to get a lot more names in the top of the funnel, all right? Anonymous names, any type of names, known names are the best in the top of the funnel. We want to do that for as cheap as possible, okay? But we know as a company, as a publicly traded company, we still have to hit a revenue number. So and we know how long our sales cycle is. So if we can forecast and see that we're not going to hit our sales for the month of September, we're going to have to pay more on SEO. That's okay. We know it's a short-term investment, but we're going to have to reallocate marketing dollars there. It costs a hell of a lot more to get that name, but we know it's more expensive to acquire that name, but it's a shorter sales cycle. So hence, we can hit our revenue targets. But again, you can't drop all of your dollars just into SEO. It has to be a blended mix. Everyone knows that. It has to be a blended mix across physical events, online events, blogs, content, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So what I'm trying to say there, though, is measure. Keep measuring, look at it, analyze, measure. Somebody mentioned multiple touch earlier in the last one. The other thing, though, too, is, as you're going through, marketing has to define, what's working, what's not working. But multi-touch is really important, I came to this event, somebody saw me speak here. Next year, that person buys something. Robert's a hero. No, do you know what? Because again, you probably are going to leave. You're probably going to go look at that success kit I gave you. All right, maybe download a white paper. Maybe then you'll go online, look at the Marketo blog, and then maybe you'll actually take some info. Maybe you'll go into an online demo. Those are 4 things that actually contributed to your thought process around buying Marketo. So it's not just me standing up here. Do you understand what I'm saying? Multi-touch attribution, how much you allocate for each of those dollars is really important. But measuring that is even more important to find out what's working, what's not, and again, how to tweak your money there. Identifying costs versus lead acquisition, like I said, top of the funnel stuff. What are these? How much is your blog attracting people to your website? As opposed to going to that big TFM-EMEA event, as opposed to just doing online demos every week. How much is YouTube bringing you in? Where are these people coming from? How much is it costing you? And that depends, again, on your company, on your market, your product, your service, and what you're trying to achieve in the short term, mid-term, and long term. So again, as a marketeer, you can do better analysis. So those are the 5, I guess, new rules of marketing. I hope some of that resonated with you. I hope it made sense. I know it was brief. I was told not to talk about the product. This is what we do. We are a small independent marketing company. I say small, 500 odd people, publicly traded. So we're not that small, but all we do is marketing and think about marketing and use marketing automation. So I even skipped. The bottom line is, we're very proud to have Amazon as one of our customers. We think, and I personally think that Amazon does a great job around personal one-to-one relationship marketing, okay? So we think that in the B2B world or in the B2C world, that you can do that for your customers. That's what we try to do every day for our customers. So we think that we can all market like Amazon. Even think about it yourself, They're not too intrusive. I know I was looking for a pair of boots in the wintertime. I looked at a couple of pairs of boots. One of them was Timberlands, I believe. And then, went away, didn't buy anything. About 2 weeks later, there was a 30% off sale, and they sent me an email. And they said, Robert, you were looking at these boots 2 weeks ago. You didn't buy anything. Are you interested in 30% off? That was a trigger, though, because then I could actually buy it. It triggered me back to their website to take a look and buy those boots for 30% off. That is non-invasive. I feel like they knew me a little bit, and not only that, they actually gave me a special promotion at the right time. So again, for B2B or B2C, I think we can all learn a little bit from Amazon. Just some of our customer slides. And I wouldn't mind if this is possible. Can I do this? All right, let me see if I can.
The power of Marketo is allowing us to be creative, to think about the future, to really bring our strategy to life. In a way that we can afford, that we can do ourselves, that makes a real difference to our salespeople, to our customers, to us as marketing people. And it's probably, as a tool, as a software tool, the most important tool we have at the moment within our armory. Panasonic is one of the world's top 3 electrical companies. We're almost 100 years old. We sell over 15,000 products around the world, and we're approximately 68 billion euros. we wanted to have a powerful marketing automation application that would allow us to get higher return on investment, to find new markets, to generate more pipeline, and very importantly, we wanted to do more with less. It had to be easy to use, powerful enough to handle all of our requirements as a pretty major enterprise, that it had to be cost effective and cost competitive. It had to be easy to integrate with Salesforce. The number of campaigns has grown every single month since we've launched it. And we are now executing almost 60 campaigns a month. This is over 6 times more per month than when before Marketo. So in other words, with the same level of marketing budget and the same number of marketing staff, we've increased our output. It's almost 6.5 times what we had before Marketo went in. All of that data that's almost in the sponge of the organization has come out and be put into our, corporate marketing system, which again helps me sleep at night for compliance. And also it means that we can extract more value out of all those trade shows and events and inbound web forms and calls in the future. We're planning to implement all the business rules of our partner program within that workflow engine, driving things like the email communications and passing leads and instructions back and forth between the partner and our sales rep and Salesforce. And we found this an incredibly cost-effective way of delivering a huge business change for the organization. Marketo is a marketer's choice. They're sort of a company of clever marketing people delivering great marketing ideas in software. They live or die through marketing automation. They're not part of another company. They don't belong to a CRM vendor or an ERP vendor. And they're one of us.
So that's it. I think, am I going to take questions now, or? Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. I'm just on time. I'm looking at my 27 minutes, 57 seconds. All right, 3 questions. So sorry, before I forget, that's the success kit for you. Marketo.com /, capital letters though, DDM Alliance, and that's it. Okay.